project on the go right now is this 2500 Dodge. It's doing the weirdest thing. If I rev it up, it stays running, but it still dies. Like, what the hell? It originally was giving me a little flash and light down here that I googled and said it was a security issue. So I hit the lock and unlock button and everything fixed itself, but then it started doing this. I suspect it's probably a low battery, but it starts so nicely. I don't know why it's cutting off unless the alternator is bad. I don't know why it's doing that. Like it's fine and then it's not. So I have absolutely no clue what's going on, but I need to get it in the shop. This time last year it dropped from like -45 to +5, and it did the exact same this year. The snow's melting around my garage. It's getting slippery out here. It's so weird. Okay, when I put this away, I just shoved this battery terminal on here, kind of for gits and shiggles. I'm almost positive that that's going to be my running issue. Battery terminal twisted. Bugger. Let's try it now. Please. I have no clue why it's doing that. No clue at all. You turkey. Oh man. Oh my, come on. I guess that's good enough. The battery charger up. I guess we'll hook the battery tester up first. See what this thing's putting out. I know the battery in this was weak. It doesn't explain why it's dying on me though. So it's still weak. I'm gonna start it up now and we'll have a look at what's going on when it's running. Hopefully you can see. Watch that. I don't understand why it's doing that. So I don't know if this alternator is working. Weird, folks. Okay, we'll let that do its thing for a while I change the shifter cable. That's the reason it's here. I've got a replacement shift cable. Let's see how much of a pain it is. That looks easy. So here's the new cable. This is it's a 2500, it's a 2011 I think, or 2012. And this is the Mopar part number for it. It wouldn't surprise me if they're easy to change because the quality is just garbage. Typical Mopar, right? It's got plastic ends. That's what happened on the transmission side. This plastic dingus fell out. Looking at it, that's probably the transmission. Oh, this might be the transmission side. But whatever, this plastic dingus right there, that little white guy hiding in there, is the problem. It's missing, so we're gonna see about getting this out of the truck. I just wanted to make sure it's the same, but it's got the grommet here, and then it's got a piece on both ends. Okay, I got the flashlight in here. Hopefully that just pops off. Cool. Might have to squish that with something. Just gonna pull this piece off. That should give me enough room to pinch those clamps. That's in theory, of course. Cool. Well, that just pops off, and there we go. Now we have tons of access to this guy. So with this, that just gets pinched and shoved down. And I'll tell you what, it's a lot easier to do from the top side. So yeah, pull that cover off. Okay. Okay, hopefully this just pushes right out. Oops. I don't know if you can see it down here, but oh, that's it. It runs right underneath the steering column. Okay, just so I know where things are. Under the steering column, and it's a pain from both ends apparently. Okay, before I tear it out of the package here, I'm just comparing to make sure they're the same. This end looks exactly the same. That piece is in the same spot by the looks of it. This end looks the same. This is from Rock Auto, so returning it would be not possible where we are. So now we just need to hope it's the same length. This cable's the same. So you can see this end here, it's just popped right out where this one's got the little rubber in there. So the truck got towed to my place and I pulled it in the shop. The cable was a few weeks away, so I just crawled underneath and hooked this back on and drove it around. It was towed here. Just wanted to show you guys that this clip in fact does just push into place. And then up here it just goes like so. The bottom was exactly the same. I couldn't get the camera in there to show you nicely, but it's that easy. So that was 10 minutes after I said it's easy. This guy here is held in mostly with push clips, so that couldn't be easier. And then we can put our screws back in. So we're just gonna wait for this battery now, but that was as easy as I thought it was. Run it underneath the steering column and it avoids the exhaust. It slides into that bracket underneath. It slides into this bracket underneath almost effortlessly, clips in from the side, and then this piece here just clicks on like the top. So only thing I'm noticing is it is rubbing on the engine just a wee. There really is no place to tie it, but it's got this sheathing around it, so I think it's just designed to float in here, to be honest. It's a big thick cable, it won't get hurt. And there was nothing holding it to anything when it came out, just that clip there and that one up top. So wait for the battery to charge up and this is fixed. If it runs. I revved it up a few times for a few minutes. Every time it went to die, the engine light would flash just for a millisecond and you'd hear it stumble. I'd keep my foot into it, keep it around 3,000 RPM, and it would kick back up. And then I just started pumping the throttle, rum, 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 rum. I don't know how long I did that, but when I stopped, let's see if it shuts off and turns back on. No engine light. Oh, that's very interesting. What the hell? That should be park, and it's in reverse. I don't get it. So I don't really know what's going on. I unhooked this guy from its home, and it still seems to be weird. Maybe the cable's torn. Okay, I've been racking my brain like crazy. Look at that. That's spring-loaded. That metal piece, the metal part of the cable, isn't moving at all. What we need to do, ensure the transmission's in park. I'm fairly certain that the truck's in park. I'll just double. Okay, so underneath the truck here, clips into its home just like that. This guy. Now, look at this. This clips into place. Okay, now, I've been fighting this that stupid thing wasn't pushed in. Now, that's locked to this cable, and we should be able to shift. Okay, you're in here with me for the first time. Reverse, neutral, drive. And you get those just from pressing the button. So that's it. So we got drive, neutral, reverse, park. So that little clip underneath, make sure you push that in when you replace a cable on a Dodge with an automatic transmission. Remember to push that clip. So that's how to change a cable for your shifter on a Dodge. This is going to be the same for a 2500, a 3500. That cable is actually really easy. One clip at the top, underneath the shifter column, and you've only got 2 screws to remove one body panel, one dash panel. To access that, pinch the clip, it comes out. Pry the top off, slide it through the firewall. Underneath, there's one clip that you pinch and pull out, and there's one eyelet that you pop off, and the cable's free and clear. Going back in on your new cable, the only important part that I noticed is to make sure you push underneath that little white retaining clip. I fought for 20 minutes trying to get it to shift, and it felt spring-loaded and spongy. That's your first sign you forgot to clip that plastic clip. So what that little clip does is lock the cable in place, and I'm assuming it does it that way so that when you loop the cable in and lock it in place, whenever you twist the cable, the length will actually change inside. So they do it this way, so when you loop the cable in through the truck, if it's not perfect, it will be when you're done. So that's all there is on this thing. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. What? What? It was fine. I've been playing with the integrated power module, Tipm, T-I-P-M. When I was pulling it out, the truck was running and it coughed and farted once. So I think it's going to be related because these are really common to get corrosion inside of them and cause issues. I'm just going to start it with it up here and wiggle it around and see if there's a glitch. hear stuff clicking when I'm wiggling this around. Listen to that. What do you think, guys? Is that our issue? Things going haywire. Now it's flashing security things at me. The dash is lit up like a Christmas tree. It's not happy. All of these are connected, so there should be no loose wires. But yeah, this isn't good for the customer, guys. Gee, what's my problem? It's gonna be that plug right there, I know it. Okay, I'm just gonna let that run for a little while. I won't touch anything, and then I'll come back, and before I touch anything, I'll turn the camera on so we have documentation of what goes on. Okay, it's been sitting here for a minute or two. It hasn't glitched once. Okay. I think it's that wire. I think it's the big yellow wire that goes into this Tipm. So we got our multimeter out here. We're going to ground the ground terminal, and we're going to check what's going on in here. Nothing. Nothing. Key is off right now. No, key is on right now. That's interesting. Unless my ground fell off. For the record, I have no clue if these wires are supposed to have power. We are just simply beginning our diagnostics as to what's going on here. So I wish this would. No wonder it's not working. The tip broke off. Literally just now. I barely touched it. Well, it doesn't have power where I wanted it, so I think we're gonna have to pull this plug off and check for corrosion inside. This red guy slides up. I actually had to beat it with that. And then the connector should just open up like that. Okay. What's behind door number 1? Do you see what I see? Oh my. I hope you can see that in there. That's not good, guys. Unfortunately, that's just what I suspected. I would bet you the rest of the connectors are like that as well. There really isn't much saving those. So I thought it was one of these two that was wiggling and loose, but there's a good chance that it was. It looks like that's the red wire right there with the corrosion in it. So let's check that one with it plugged in. Key off, the red wire's got 3.5 volts. Key on, I read 2.7. So with it plugged in, we have 12 volts to it with the key off. Giving me a key issue again. It's saying there's a security problem. Oh yeah, hear that? That's not good. So I've been fighting to get this thing to make communication at all anymore. So this plug goes to the ECM, to the fuel pump, and a couple other important things. this red wire. At one point, I was able to test 12 volts from the backside with the key on. This pin I'm holding is from inside there. You can see that nice spot on the left there with all the green coming out of it and no more terminal because it finally broke off. It was sticking out of this blue connector. So unfortunately this thing's gonna need a Tipm. They're not cheap. Nothing more I can do but replace that Tipm. So I've got the pin with the wire going through it and I'm just checking it with this end here, and look at that. So that pin has been our problem this whole time. Yay. Well, we got it on the bench. It wasn't the only connection with corrosion in it. This one's got a lot as well. I don't know what that one is for yet. I haven't pinned it out, but C2 is the one we're working on with the broken off pin in there. And then, yeah, like I said, this one, there's a good amount of corrosion in here. The rest, I've got this thing literally charging, keeping my batteries not only warm, but charged. And my GoPro keeps dying at 50. You won't even stay long enough on for me to rant. Stay on long enough for me to rant. Come on. All right, hopefully you work for more than 10 seconds now. Your battery's at 100% and it's warm, it's hot, it sits by the fire. GoPro, you shouldn't die. So anyways, this thing should just come apart now. I had all of these, a good amount of pried apart on the truck, but I realized pulling it out is going to be the smartest option. It's all of these that are going to be holding it in, isn't it? So we're going to take a picture so we remember where everything goes. And okay, it should just slide apart now. Oh yeah, way easier. Cool. The first thing I'm noticing is this is loose. That's awesome, hey? Definitely not the spot that has a broken pin though, so that's cool. Our broken pin issues are underneath, so we got to get this circuit board. So here's our damaged pins. This is the one that broke off, and I see one bent over here, so that must have happened when I was playing with it. But it's also covered badly in corrosion, and therefore that would have been another failure point. So I don't really know how that pin got bent over like it did. I don't trust it. You can clearly see here where our friend busted right off, so. Got the solder and iron warming up. We're gonna try to fix this thing. And the first thing I'm gonna do is just try to clean off what little corrosion I can. So that's been warming up for at least 15 minutes and it's still not hot enough to do a thing. It's actually taking it now on this thing, so that should just take it and stay. So this has proven to be one of the most difficult things I've done. These won't solder to save their lives. It won't really focus, but I've got the pin at least dangling where I want it. It's 7 o'clock at night. I want to go inside and make dinner and eat. And we'll come finish this up tomorrow. Maybe I'll redneck some design in my head tonight and I'll figure it out. Morning YouTube, we're out here the next day and I did some brainstorming last night. So these pins that are broken, this one here for example, I think I'm going to drill a little hole in the bottom and attach a wire to it. This pin over here on this other plate is also broken. This is the other one that was really corroded, and I just barely touched it this morning and it snapped off. So I'm really hoping my system works, my theory works, and that I can get this thing workable again. I just want to state for the record again how stupid of a design this thing is. It's so full of corrosion inside, and it's nowhere near as bad as some of the ones I've seen online. There's no reason for these to let water and salt and stuff in. Mopar did a terrible job at designing this, and if you look up Tipm, T-I-P-M, on the internet, just Google it. It's pathetic how many issues that they've had over the years, and it's obvious why. Like this plate here, this is the back side of a plate, and it's full of gunk and corrosion looking stuff. It's ridiculous. Electronic components should not have this much corrosion inside. They should all be sealed. And anyways, a fuse box with built-in relays is stupid, let alone the rest of this. So that's the idea. So we're just liberally applying the solder on here so that this wire becomes permanently bonded to that post, which is going much easier now. I was starting to get really discouraged just to realize my soldering iron's not hot enough, but that worked. I can actually hang on to this wire now, so we are looking much more positive. It's not the prettiest job in the world. You probably can't really tell on the GoPro, but at least everything's glued together for once. Now what I'm gonna do, probably drill holes through everything so that the pins can slide through with their new added size. I've lined everything up, nothing interferes, so I should be fine to do that. So this is the outside. I'm just gonna lay things down and stack them where they need to be. These first two bottom plates are going to be the first ones drilled apparently. So I need to drill this slot out, and then on that plate I'm going to have to drill this one out. Oh, I hate when they fall over. So a pin actually fell out of the board here too that we're going to have to reattach. That one right there. So I've drilled where the pin goes through to leave room for my big thick. So this is how my repair looks so far. I've got wires going through the boards. I'm just going to try to feed this one through now. So my biggest issue is going to be if that solder joint fits through that hole, and then lining the rest of these up is not the easiest thing in the world, but we're getting there. I'm installing shrink tube on the posts so that there's no continuity between them and anything they can touch. Now where I drilled has no effect on anything at all except for what goes passing through it. So these will stop it from shorting out on there. Well, the tips fit. With any luck we can just get it all the way together now. Okay, this is going to take a while. I'll be back when I get it. We got this guy back together. No pins got bent over. Now we've just got to drill out this connector so the wires can come through it, and then we can plug it into the truck and see if it runs. Okay, I'm not going to stand here and say that was easy, but it's all back together. I really hope I didn't squish any pins, but this side all looks like they aligned and went in. The other side looks like it aligned and went in. Let's play 52 pickup with these fuses. I hesitated on this one because I noticed it's got two prongs side by side. And I looked in the lid there, and it says it's for your cigarette lighter. Whether you have it here or whether you have it here determines whether it's always on or whether it's on with the key. So that's really cool. You can move that. Back of the truck, we need to allow these wires to pass through this connection. So first things first is this red wire is this one. So we can pretty much just grab it and yeet it out of this connector. So with any luck, we can just grab it and yank it out of here. Just like that. Cool. This should just slide up through here. And this one should just slide up through here. And if there's any good with the world, this will just go down there nicely and plug in. Okay, I got it in there once. I'm gonna pull it out, make sure there was no damage to any pins. Nope, all the pins look fine. And this should just go back together again. Nicely as I can be to it. Yeah, we're gonna hook our wires up, plug the rest of these in, and test it out. So normally I like to use shrink tube and butt connectors, but I've got shrink tube butt connectors all built into one thing, so that's what we're gonna use today. Tug test. Everything either worked and this is going to be working, or nothing worked and this will not work. Really want to be careful with these now. Okay, we got everything hooked up. We got the power wire hooked up. I'm not even going to tuck this into its home. We're just going to hook the battery up and see what happens. Please just work for me, buddy. I really need it. I really need a win today. Okay, that's a lot of clicking. I had the key on, so I'm going to try that again. Our little blue plug, that controlled the ECU, the fuel pump, all the important stuff. So if I turn the key on, that's a good sign. If I turn the key on and we have communication, I win. So right here, that light needs to not blink. Oh my god, it worked. Woohoo! I'm so happy. I thought I just wasted a day and a half messing around to fix two little pins for no reason. If you've got broken pins in your Tipm, you can run wires right through the box and eliminate them. I'm just gonna melt these shrink connectors down. These butt connectors are really good. They're made by Grody. They come in packs, obviously, if you want. But they cost almost $1 a piece. Even if you buy them in a pack. I bought a 50 pack for 48 bucks. So you gotta be careful when you're using them that you don't waste them. But I've been using these guys for probably 18 or 15 years now, and I've never installed one and had it come back with an issue. They always just seem to work, so I definitely don't mind using them. Okay, I got those melted down. Now the fuse box just sits back in this hole. Notice how it's not dying like it was? That means it's fixed.